Hello viewers, this is Trevor with Ink Warfare. Welcome to this video. It's part 1 in a 5-part series where I draw my top 5 mask-wearing characters of all time. Now, as a disclaimer, I did not include the horror genre in my selection process. I hope you're not going to be upset with me if you're watching this video. I think we all know what mask would be in the top 5 out of the horror genre if I had included it, but I did not. So I'm going to start out here with my blue color erase pencil, and I'm just sketching in the shape of the head for this character. And my number 5 character, I don't know if I should say, I don't know if I should wait for it to develop a little bit more and have you guess. But this character meant a lot to me growing up, because I had the action figure, the original action figure, and then I ended up having one of the later versions, and I can't remember if my parents bought me that but probably the dearest toys in my collection are my G.I. Joe guys, and this character happens to be part of the G.I. Joe family. So you probably, that's a big hint there. I mean, what character in the G.I. Joe line is the most famous character that wore a mask? And it's not Destro, sorry, or Cobra Commander. I think now you can probably tell who I'm drawing. And I'm going for the earliest version. I'm drawing him with the goggles. So yes, Snake Eyes is my number 5. I think Snake Eyes is a super recognizable character. Probably, he has the most basic costume. I think his costume was, if I'm not mistaken, kind of an afterthought. Like his toy was an afterthought, where they just took pieces from another toy just to make another character. I don't know if they had to have a certain number of action figures in the series, but Snake Eyes ended up being, I think if I would wager to believe, the most popular G.I. Joe character. And all he basically wears is a black balaclava, recognizable by the little vent holes, the 4 little vent holes in the mouthpiece. And then, like on this, the earliest version had the ski goggles. So I'm drawing him with the ski goggles. Now I like to start out with drawing my heads. Just like you saw, I use like 2 lines to represent the front plane of the face, and then I like to come up with the jaw line and kind of circle around back down to draw the shape of my ear. So in this series, I'm basically going to just do a rough sketch in the blue pencil, and then I'm going to go right in with inks. And I try to stay loose at this stage. Like right here, I'm holding the pencil kind of close, but I normally will hold it back further on that foam padding, and that's just kind of an athletic wrap padding that you can buy at your at Dick's Sporting Goods, or I'm trying not to give a, Dick's Sporting Goods has not supported this video in any way, but any of your like box stores or stores that sell sporting goods. So I did speed this video up just for the sake of time. I know I did receive one comment where I was asked not to speed the videos up, but I'm sorry. I just think for sake of time, you'll get the gist of what I'm doing. And it's a lot more time to have to narrate stuff. And I'm not a talker. So you can probably tell if you've seen some of my other videos. This image will be for sale on my website, inkwarfare.com. At some point, I'm going to try to put out a video every few days here in this series. So this is number 5, number 4. Hopefully it will be put out this week. It is Thanksgiving week, so forgive me if I don't make it, but that's my intention. I do have all the drawing filmed and the images drawn. I just have to make up the video, edit the video, and make up the soundtrack, and narrate the videos. So here I'm using a Tombow pen. It's a Tombow Fudeno Senkei pen, and I think they're fairly easy to find. My local hobby arts and crafts / hobby store has them, and probably so does a store near you or something similar. If they don't have that, there is the Pit pen by Faber-Castell. I think it's an FM they call it. That is a little bit softer. So that FM Faber-Castell pit marker with the brush tip on it it's a nice pen, but it's just a little softer. It's kind of like the black Tombow pen, which I don't prefer because I press a little hard, and you have to be a little bit more sensitive to your pen pressure when you're using those softer brush pens. It's just so funny how Snake Eyes, with the most basic pretty much costume, has turned out to be like one of the most popular G.I. Joe character. And one of the cool things about Snake Eyes is that he's, especially in the cartoon, like I used to watch the cartoon every day after school, he's very emotionless, so you can't really tell what he's thinking, and that almost gives you the impression that he's kind of like almost like impartial in a way. Just the coolest character, whether he's the mask with the visor too, the knight visor, I don't know what you call it. It looks like a shield on a knight's helmet. Super cool mask too. I could have drawn both of them for this video, but I just chose the earliest version because that's where it all began with him. Now here I have kind of an idea of where, my light's coming from the upper left-hand side basically, or slightly in front of the face. So I kind of have an idea where my darks and lights are going to be, but I am really just fleshing this out as I go and hoping it works. It's kind of tricky drawing the mask and making that work, because it could go wrong, especially around the nose here. And I tend to use a lot of feathered lines rather than blocking in like heavy sections of ink. I will do that here, but I just really get lost in the rendering. And I'm only drawing, this is only a portrait for every video pretty much. I'm not going to draw much of the chest or any other of the body parts. This is a Pentel brush pen. It's okay. I don't love it. It works for this kind of stuff, laying down like random shapes in ink. I'd like to get a the only reason I don't do it an actual brush and some India ink, but I just don't want to deal with the mess with cleaning the brush up. I did buy a jar of the Deleter Whiteout that I have not tried yet. Kind of for the same reason, Then I've got to go wash a brush. I'm using the Posca pens right now, and they're all right. I'm not 100% on them, but I'm kind of cheap. I'm going to use them up before I buy anything else. And I kind of like, there's a, I don't know who makes it, there is a whiteout pen that's like a flat blue pen marker or whatever you want to call it that I'd like to try, that I've seen other people using. It just isn't available at my local store, so I'd have to get it online. I just haven't gotten around to it. Now I'm in working out the top of his forehead. I'm going for kind of like some thrashing lines here to kind of give some energy to the top of his head. Trying to keep the lines in the same direction also. That gives a kind of an element of movement to the picture. And glasses, they can be tough. You can make glasses as complicated or as simple as possible. You kind of have to work it out with the reflection in glasses, because, you know, if you put on a pair of sunglasses, depending on the coating that's on them, you'll be able to see a reflection of everything around like a mirror. So if you can work that out in your drawing, that can have a nice effect. But if you just want to give a general, you know, kind of presenting maybe a horizon type, you know, like here I'm kind of going to go for eventually the darks on top and fading down to light down below on the lower portions of the glasses. And you can do something like that. I kind of just randomly inked in blocked in the bigger blocks of black ink there. Now I'm feathering them in a little bit with my Tombow pen. That's one thing that's nice about the Tombow pen, is you can go ultra thin with the tip if you're careful. There's just a big variety of line weight that you can accomplish, depending on how sensitive you are to your pressure on the paper. Here I'm using this Deleter comic book paper, which I've said this in other videos, isn't like the best paper, but I'm almost out of it. So I probably won't order it again. Sorry, Deleter, but it's just a little lightweight. It's done all right for this series, actually. I'm pretty happy with it. But if you were doing something that I don't know, I'd probably try like a 300 or 500 Strathmore if you hadn't purchased anything yet and needed to buy something. It is the perfect size for what I'm doing here, which it's kind of an odd size too. I don't know whether that has to do with it. I think that stuff comes from Japan. It's not quite 8.5 by 11, so I sliced it in half for each of my drawings in this series. And I was just thinking about other notable G.I. Joe characters that wore masks, and I had already mentioned Destro, Cobra Commander, Storm Shadow, another popular character, a Firefly. I had a Firefly character, or I had the Firefly action figure, and loved that action figure. Coolest costume with the gray camo, and had a friend, in quotations I'll say a friend, over I think one weekend, and I think my Firefly action figure went home with him. Probably other than that, from that I don't know what year the Firefly character or the Firefly figure came out, but probably other than him, I probably had every figure from that year, and I've yet to purchase a replacement, which I probably should. So also at the early version of Snake Eyes, he had this this turtleneck, I guess you'd call it. His costume had the turtleneck and the suspenders. I'll call them suspenders. I don't know what the webbing or what the actual combat gear name would be for it. He had his grenades hanging off. I think there might have been a knife too. I didn't dig my Snake Eyes figure out of my storage for this purpose of this video. I just looked it up on great website, 3djoes.com. If you like G.I. Joe, that website is fantastic. I think I've mentioned it on my other videos. 3D Joes. Great video, great website. It'll show you breaks down like a page. They have a page for every character, every action figure, every vehicle, and they've got a drop-down menu, and you can look them up per year. So you can look up all the figures in each year. And one thing I didn't realize going on there is how many, you know, I'm kind of a child of the 80s and 90s, so I probably stopped collecting G.I. Joes when probably around 1990 and ish, and kind of surprised to see how many figures they came out with after that I was unaware of. And a lot of those kind of corny figures, the ones that had all the crazy colors and stuff, are like super collectible because I think they're kind of rare. They did end up re-releasing some characters in their, you know, with more flamboyant colors and stuff like that, and as part of a line. I think they had some jungle line. The characters had brighter colors, like they had a Duke, maybe a Recondo. So if you don't agree with my number 5 choice here, I guess you'd have to see all together what my number 5, and I'm not going to let you know till I post the videos. Just wondering if you would agree, disagree, have your own opinion. What character would you put at number 5? Like I said, I did not include the horror genre. Probably if I did, I think I probably would have put, you know, Michael Myers is probably a very recognizable mask now. Probably would have put him in the top 5, and that would have bumped somebody else out because his mask is very recognizable. But this is my top 5, so your top 5 might be different. I'd be curious to know what your top 5 or your number 5 would be. So his forehead there, I really like the way his forehead and the top of his head came out. I'm pretty pleased with it. I just kind of drew those feathered lines to represent some softer wrinkling in the forehead. Which, you know, if it was you or me in real life wearing a balaclava, you wouldn't be able to see that detail. But, you know, this is it's kind of like comic book art, you know. You can take some liberties. That's what makes it cool. I think an honorable I will give away some honorable mentions, so you're gonna know ahead of time what isn't on the rest of my list. But like, my sons thought that Wolverine's mask should be in the top 5, and if I did put it in the top 5, it would be number 5. But I don't think with the majority of people outside those who are fans of the comic book, that Wolverine's mask is really that well known. I mean, you might disagree, but I think more people know Wolverine's are familiar with the Hugh Jackman Wolverine with the hairdo. So that's why that was not in my top 5. And just as we're going there, Deadpool. Deadpool is recognizable, especially now more than ever. When I was younger, he was a super popular character. One of my best friends, that was his favorite comic book character, or my best friend's favorite comic book character that I recall. But he just didn't make it in the top 5. I just think Snake Eyes has more of a legacy. Time will tell about Deadpool, but time has definitely told about Snake Eyes. A few more of my number 5 honorable mentions would be, maybe just a couple. Boba Fett. That was a tough call. I mean, Boba Fett is, I think, a really well-known character. But honestly, with your younger generation, I don't know, maybe Mando has become more well-known, more popular. When I was younger, I mean, Boba Fett had a super cool mask. Actually, I ride a motorcycle, and I think HJC had a Boba Fett full-face helmet. I wish I would have gotten it, but it was like it was a little expensive. It was like over $500, $600. But Boba Fett, definitely sick, really cool helmet, mask, and I guess I am including helmets, so hopefully nobody leaves a comment about, well, that's not a mask, that's he wears a helmet and there's a difference. Okay, well, their face is covered, that's what I'm going for. If it covers their face, I think you'd call it a mask, right? Helmet covers the top of your skull. Possibly. That's how I define it. And then, man, it's tough after that. I just don't think there's anything that comes close. So I guess I won't share a few more. That was just Boba Fett. I just grabbed my list. Maybe I'll share a couple more honorable mentions. Another big one, and one of my favorite characters of all time, even before the series. I love the John Romita Jr. and Lee Weeks Daredevil issues of Marvel Comics Daredevil. He's particularly has a popular, very recognizable mask now, and I would say, Catwoman, honorable mention. Iron Man, Captain America. I think those all kind of come close. But I just had to make a decision, and Snake Eyes was who I went with, and I'm fine with it. I'm good with it. So I decided to make. I took a little liberty in this, in drawing his like mouthpiece on the mask. I did put like a little bit of a dividing line there. And kind of tried to make it look like a little bit more of a hard piece, like it's separate from the overall balaclava. But I don't know if that was a good decision or not. I was happy with the way it came out. So here I'm getting close to the end. A lot of times I'll stand up, step back. I like to do oil paintings, do the same thing there. Sometimes you've got to stand up, step back, have a look from 5 feet away, see what looks right, what looks wrong. You can use a mirror, and that can be really helpful. Sometimes just stepping away for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or a half hour and coming back to your drawing. I don't know how many times I'll be working on a drawing and I'm like, man, I just hate it. It's not working out, doesn't look right. And I've been looking at it for an hour, 2 hours. however much, without a break. And then I'll take a break. I'll go grab a snack, something, come back, and I'm like, man, I don't know what I was so upset about. It looks pretty cool. Or my eye goes right to the thing that needs to be fixed to make it look right. So if you're drawing something, take a break sometimes. You do need to stretch your legs. Go for a walk the dog, let the dog out. Get a sandwich, grab a coffee. But that can be a big help to step back and just look at it with fresh eyes. And I think just closing your eyes and turn around and coming back to it doesn't do nearly the same effect as just getting a little bit of a break from your drawing. If you're getting a little worn out, like I said, if you're just before you tear the thing up, toss it in the garbage. Maybe just do that. Take a break, come back, and then you can decide whether you tear it up and toss it in the garbage. I think on this drawing I didn't like I walked away, came back, and I thought the bottom of the mouthpiece there needed to be darkened up a little bit, and then the side of the head and the top of the forehead. And those are things sometimes, like I said, when you're staring at a drawing for an hour, 2 hours, that can be difficult to see without taking a break. And you'll notice I do a lot of turning my paper around, and I recommend that because it allows you to get a better angle for the lines that you're drawing. It might be annoying to watch the video and have me flip the page around, but I definitely don't dismiss the effectiveness of rotating your paper. That's harder to do if you're doing, if you're painting a painting. But when you have a piece of paper that you're drawing on, you have the luxury of it, being able to move it around, turn it upside down, turn it sideways. You could do that with a painting too, but I think you're less likely. I mean, I don't do that when I'm oil painting. I just, because I've got it all clamped in my, might have it all clamped down in my easel, and I don't want to do that. It's just a pain. So I'm coming down to the end of the video here. This picture will be for sale on my website, inkwarfare.com. I am on Instagram at ink.warfare. And if you like this video, select the like button, subscribe. That way you'll be sure to see my future videos. I do plan on putting the next 4 videos in this series out very soon. I invite you to check out my next video and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever it is. Thanks for watching.